Kippa! Come on! Barbara, are you supposed to be sticking your head through the fence eating the roses? Yes, you. We have an issue with our sheep. They are escape artists. So Paul's trying to fix up all the fences to try and contain them, even though they have an abundance of feed. See all the grass down there? They still want to get to the grass on the other side of the fence. That grass isn't good enough for them. So he's just trying to secure the fences a bit more. When we bought this property 7 months ago, the fences were in really bad shape, and a lot of them still are because we're still working on them. The external boundary fence isn't too bad because we neighbour the forest, so I suppose the old owners didn't want the sheep getting into the forest. The fence along the dams and the river, that's in really good condition because they got a grant from the government to put in a fence to stop the cattle getting into the waterways. But all the internal fences and some of our neighbouring fences, they're not too good. So it is a little low progress getting that all together and bringing it up to scratch, but Paul's taken this week to do that before he goes back to work next week. He's had 6 weeks off, and this is the last week, and yeah, like I said, he'll be getting all these fences hopefully up to scratch and hopefully containing the sheep. What do you think about going back to work next week?
I'm not. I quit. Put in my resignation.
Tell your boss to stick it?
Yeah.
Your boss is a bit of a tool anyway, isn't he?
I reckon he's a legend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got a few fruit trees near the sheds and the cabin. We've got a heap of apple trees. Lots and lots of apples on this tree, so hopefully the cockies stay away because they've been making a mess of our nectarine tree. But if they're not good eating apples, we'll make cider. Or we'll mix them with some other fruits and make some fruit leathers and stuff like that. But I think I'll make good cider if it's not a nice eating apple. This is a really old apricot tree. Hasn't been loved in many years. You can see it's all sticks here. So we plan to prune this back in winter. And this here is the nectarine tree. This was fully laden with fruit, but still quite a bit of fruit on it. But the cockies have been getting in here and munching on all the fruit because that's what they do. Try and get to the pip on the inside and eat the kernel. And the sheep have been eating all the fallen fruit. Still a heap of fruit on there, so I'm pretty pleased, but I'm not sure if we'll see any this year. This here is a nashi pear tree. Nashi pear is a cross between an apple and a pear, and there's a heap of fruit on this too, which is awesome. Wouldn't mind making a perry cider or an apple cider, a hard cider, with our excess fruit. Look how many nashi pears are on there. And then we have one more tree. We lost the first flush of fruit to the cockies. Cockies are a native parrot. They're a cockatoo. They are gorgeous, but they are incredibly destructive, especially to fruit and nut trees. We live next door to forest. One side of our property borders the forest, so we probably have nearly a kilometre of fence that borders the forest. So we get the birds. The black cockatoos aren't as destructive as the sulphur-crested white cockatoos. The white cockatoos, yeah, don't even get me started. They're beautiful, but they are a pest. But they ate all our figs. This is the second flush of figs on our fig tree, so we've still got heaps coming. But hopefully we get to eat some of these because we didn't get any of the first flush. And figs are one of my favourite fruits, apart from mango and pineapples and berries. But we can't grow mangoes here or pineapples. We're too cold where we are during the winter time. I love my tropical fruits, but a good fig, that's pretty up there on my list. This is some of our herd of sheep. We have about 32 sheep, and we eat the boys, except for the rams, of course. And Cooper, who is our pet now because he is being bottle fed. And we keep the girls as breeding stock because a lot of our girls here are older. And so the plan is just to keep building the flock, and then we'll sell the excess ewes if there are any, and we'll sell the excess rams if we see one that's particularly good looking, like this bloke over here. He's going to be a ram. His mum's a really good cheddar, and he's nice and beefy. We're hoping we can make enough of an income of bits and pieces. This year we would love to get some cattle. At the moment we've got a dairy farm. He's got 9 cows on the property. We could probably sustain 15 without feeding them. We've got pigs, we've got the sheep, we've got the chickens, and we're hoping we can sell enough of our excess that we can not necessarily live off that income, but help go towards some of the bills. Rates here are incredibly expensive, insurance is incredibly expensive. We need to have public liability insurance because we're over 10 acres in size. So for example, if a cow gets out and someone crashes into it, or someone breaks onto our property and gets hurt, or even if a friend is visiting and gets hurt, we need to have insurance to cover ourselves for that. So we're hoping that we can make enough money off our livestock that we can pay those bills down. We don't really have any other bills. All our water is rainwater or dam water. Gas comes out of a bottle, so there is a little bit of a bill there, a couple $100 a year maybe. And our electricity is on grid. We are on grid. You can see the lines there. But we've got solar panels that feed into the grid, and that offsets our electricity costs. So up there we have our solar panels, and that seems to be enough to offset us. We also use wood for heating, so we don't really have heating bills like we used to back in the suburbs. We used to have gas ducted heating, which was awesome, but it was really expensive to run. We have 3 large water tanks, 2 for rainwater and 1 for dam water. And so far that seems to be getting us through. We don't run our pumps to get water into the house. We actually use gravity, which is one of the benefits for living on a hill. There are not many benefits for living on a hill, but this is one of the benefits of living on a hill. And so we gravity feed all our water, which is brilliant, and then we fill up the top tank whenever this is full and overflowing, or whenever we need it. The water from the dams down the bottom, they get pumped up 100 metres above sea level to our header tanks, and that gravity feeds all our animal troughs, and we can use that through the taps to water the gardens too. Our dream is to be self-sufficient, and I think we're doing a pretty good job. We're growing all our own veggies and a lot of our fruit. But our dream and our aim for doing this was to spend more time as a family. And so that means that Paul has to quit his job. Now, Paul is his own boss, so I'm sure his boss will be thrilled when he quits. But there are a couple more bills that we need to pay off, a few more debts that we need to pay off, and that's a mortgage on the house. So we're trying to do that as quickly as possible because we want to be here together as a family, working here together as a family. That's why we did this, but obviously we need to pay off our debt first. So we're striving towards that, and then slowly Paul can cut down his days and be here full time with us. It's been awesome that he's had 6 weeks off with us, and we've been working together as a family on the farm. It's been brilliant. It's going to be very different next week when he's back at work. I'll be picking up all the slack. He's been helping me out with the animals and the watering and the veggie gardening. So I'll be doing that all by myself next week, which is fine. That's what usually happens, but it's been really nice to have his hand here at the farm and have the company too. So it'll be me and the kids doing it solo next week. We're losing all our rainwater. We're losing all our rainwater. Oh my gosh, this is bad. Far out. I was literally just here. And then I noticed I had no water in the house, so I called Paul and I thought he turned it off. But he didn't, and so he went up to the big tank up the top to check it. And I walked into the lounge room and I could hear water pouring out. And I came out and I saw this. Far out, that's bad, guys. We're in Australia in summer and we won't get rain for quite a while. And this is what we used to live. This is what we used to drink and feed the house.
Oh, right, it's best.
So Paul's just reattaching the pipe. This is our firefighting pipe. And what blew off?
Just the pipe came out of the coupling on the other end.
So it's back on. We'll have to monitor this because I don't feel too confident having that back on there. We could have lost all our water, which would have been devastating, especially because we're in summer. I just got a weather warning on my phone saying that we're going to have heavy rainfalls. It is Victoria though, so I doubt, but you know. Severe thunderstorms, large hailstones. So I'm not really sure, but it would be really nice since we lost all that water. It's the morning after the night before, and we got 1.5 mils of rain last night. So at least there's a little bit in the tank to replace what we lost yesterday, but nowhere near as much as we had lost.